welcome back to Bucks Beat Podcast. This is episode 127. We'll be focusing on the Bulldogs specialist, and I've got College Football Hall of Fame place kicker and my former teammate and longtime friend Kevin Butler will be joining me in just a moment. Now, recently, I was at the beach, and I'm going through Phil Steele's preseason college football magazine, and I saw something very unusual. In fact, I've never seen anything like this before. And what I saw was, as I was looking at the preseason All-American team, I saw that Phil Steele, on his All-American teams, had listed all of the specialists from the University of Georgia. The place kicker was Peyton Woodring. The punter was Brett Thorson. And I didn't know they had a long snapper on the All-American team, but they do, and that is Georgia's Beau Gardner. Amazing. Haven't seen that any time, man. That's got to be special. And Coach Smart, let me just say is smart, real smart, because he places a high priority on special teams, just like my coach at Georgia did, Vince Dooley. Under Coach Dooley, the first thing we did in every practice was special teams work. That's how we started practice. It was a real priority. And I just love how much Coach Smart uses his top Dawgs starters on punt and kickoff cover teams. You don't see a lot of teams doing that either. So that really shows you Coach Dooley, Coach Smart, both believe in going out there and bringing in the best place kickers, the best punters, long snappers. And you see some of these other programs, they don't really put that kind of priority on special teams. There is three phases in college football: offense, defense, and special teams. In all three of these phases, well, they can get you beat if you're not up to snuff. If you're going to look to win big, last thing you want is special teams giving it away. Peyton Woodring, let's talk about the Bulldogs place kicker. He arrived on the Georgia campus 3 years ago, rated as the top kicker in his recruiting class. And Woodring has delivered at Georgia at an elite level. 21 and 23 on field goals last season. Let me do the math for you. 91%. He was money, is what he was. And a Lou Groza Award finalist. 42 of 48 in his two-year career as the Bulldogs kicker. And he is a preseason All-American. So is punter Brett Thorson, also getting respect nationally. Thorson made news during the 23 season when he allowed, the entire season, did not allow one punt return. Not a punt return for 1 yard. Zero. That's amazing. And I know I wasn't the only one paying attention as far as that goes. And he was bombing it, averaging over 47 yards a punt. 22 punts downed inside the 20-yard line. Now, you want to talk about impressive? That's impressive. That's how you become an All-American. He can also tackle, by the way, coming off a knee injury, and Thorson expected to be 100% by the time the season gets underway. He's a preseason All-American, folks. Steele also named long snapper Beau Gardner a preseason All-American. Since transferring from UCLA 2 years ago, Gardner has been perfect on snaps. You want to mess up a punt, get a punt blocked, or mess up a field goal, get a field goal blocked or a field goal missed, you have a bad snap. Well, Gardner's not been doing any of that. Impressive. Georgia's kicker, punter, and snapper are all preseason All-Americans. Elite skills, specialist, And I spoke last week about Georgia's off-the-ball linebackers being the strength of this 2025 team. And this week, I would like to point out that this is another strength of the Georgia team. Their specialists really are special. For decades, they've been special. They've been elite. And this year, that reputation will get another boost. Joining me now is Kevin Butler, Hall of Fame kicker and teammate at the University of Georgia. KB, great to have you on as we talk about these Georgia specialists. Now, I've never seen this before. Have you ever seen a preseason magazine from one team have an All-American kicker, punter, and long snapper? I've never seen this.
Well, Buck, it's good to be with you, and I haven't seen it either. You know, it's something I think as a kicker you would love to have that problem. You know, you'd love to have that problem, but you got one great snapper, one great holder, one great punter, one great place kicking. You know, the whole team surrounds around those three guys you just talked about, and it really says a lot about Georgia's special team units because these guys are out front. They're the ones that are getting the kudos, good and bad. But the center, you just never really want to hear anything from him except good snap, good snap. The punter, and we know what kind of weapon we have this year in Brett Thorson. And then Peyton Woodring has just been phenomenal out there. So, I haven't ever seen it, but it certainly is good picks.
What do you think the statement is for people paying attention when they see this, that Georgia's doing something these other programs aren't?
Yeah, I think it's twofold, Buck. I think, recruiting. They're always recruiting, right? You're recruiting your own players. You're recruiting other players. You're recruiting guys coming out of high school right now. So anytime that you can get more recognition for your star players, your individuals that are out there having to perform, I think it's just a great thing for a university. I think it shows how much Coach Smart really has always emphasized the importance of special teams. And they've done a great job just recruiting, going out there. And believe me, when you're a place kicker at Georgia, when you're a punter at Georgia, when you're snapping at Georgia, you're in the game. You are out there for some big plays, very important plays, game-winning plays, game-losing plays. So you're going to get the opportunity you want coming to the University of Georgia as a top-level special team player. But once you get here, you really have to turn it out, just like every other position, because there's competition always right behind you. And right now, these three young men have stepped out in front of everybody in the league and have set themselves on a pretty high road to success.
Look, let's be real here. Georgia has a great history, a long tradition of outstanding kickers. Before you, after you, it seems like every 2, 3, 4 years, we're bringing in another big-timer to help win football games. This started with Coach Dooley, best I can tell, and everybody else, Coach Rick, Coach Donnan, Kirby Smart, they've all adopted the same philosophy.
Yeah, I think you should. I think when you come to a university and you take over, you want to make your footprint, but you also want to build on the great history that these universities offer. And Georgia offers a tremendous history in football players of every position. And kicking, that something I'm very proud of, being part of it. But seeing guys that have come past me, Buck, that it just blows my mind how successful, how very good they are. And I think the one thing that really separates the Georgia kickers from all other kickers out there, and there's a lot of good kickers out there, and Georgia certainly doesn't have the lock on kickers, but we did just sign a number one place kicker for future years. And what Peyton's doing right now is really incredible. The percentage success is nothing like I've ever seen. You know, when these guys drop below 90%, people are complaining about them, saying we have to get a new kicker. And I just, I often ask people, what other position in any other sport out there you have to maintain 90% success rate? You might talk about a hockey goalie taking 30 shots and letting only 1 or 2 in. Bowling. I'm just trying to think about it. Certainly not in baseball. If somebody was that percentage in baseball, they'd own the whole damn league. They'd have to pay them so much money. So what these guys do as a place kickers is really impressive to me, and they just keep getting better and better. And then when you look at the punting position, being able to flip a field, being able to kick a ball 70 yards and save your defense, get your offense out of a hole, or fake the thing and run, or make a tackle. I mean, these guys now are truly athletes. And when you get down to that center position, all we see is that snap, but there's got to be protection there. And then he's got to be a great athlete. He's got to get downfield. He's got to make coverage. He's kind of that wild dog in that middle. He can go out of his lane a little bit and go to that ball since he's the first one down the field. But everybody's got to respect that and stay in their lanes, or none of these guys are getting the kudos they're getting right now.
What makes Peyton Woodring so special? What are his skills that impress you?
You know, I think that he's just he's a good athlete. I think he approaches it kind of like I feel like I did, Buck. You remember me at practice?
Player.
I do. I grew up playing football, and it really bothered me that I couldn't keep playing. So I'd get out there and practice and, try to play as much as I could and help out as much as I could. But I think, Peyton comes from a good background of soccer. I think, when you're a soccer player and you're a successful soccer player, you know what it's like to be in a game. You know what it's like to be physical. It may not have the helmet and the shoulder pads on, but when you go into a specialized position like place kicking, that can only help you because your preparation is diligent. Your preparation is consistent. And I think that's what Peyton brings out there. And it shows, you think back, I think maybe his first 4 kicks, he was 2 for 4. New snapper, new holder, new environment for him. And then since then, this guy has been money, big kicks, big games. He looks forward to it. And that's the thing that just excites me about watching him.
Do you believe Brett Thorson will play in the National Football League?
I think Brett Thorson will do whatever he wants. I love Brett Thorson. He is one special individual that brings a new culture to Georgia from down under in Australia. He's got a tremendous work ethic from his family. This young man, they were farmers. They have milk cattle down in Australia, and he only knows one thing, and that's to work hard and have fun. And he has just gotten better and better each year. And you can only imagine that. I mean, here's a guy that came from really not growing up around football. He gets into one of the biggest programs in college football, has some of the greatest success, and now is on, the main stage in college football this year. And he's just going to do a fabulous job. It's really fun to watch him. It's even more fun to sit down and talk to him. He's somebody that, as a Georgia alumni, Buck, we get very proud of seeing get those the awards, get the recognition out there because he works hard and he kind of embodies a bulldog from down under.
I think most fans take the snapper for granted.
Yeah.
We've got a good one, obviously. Talk about the guy, Dr. Fricks, I believe, was one of your snappers. Yeah. Talk about your guys.
Yeah, well, Mitch Fricks was my snapper my first 2 years, and then Paul Messer jumped in there and did a phenomenal job. I mean, these are guys that you're with in practice all day long. They might be over with tight ends. They might be doing some things with scout team, but you're with them when you're working, and you're working in a very serious manner. I mean, you've got to remember that this snap to the hold to the kick is 1.2, 1.3 seconds at the most. If you get into 1.4 and 1.5 seconds, you're going to get it blocked. And, people need to really think about that. So what has to happen, first of all, your center, it starts with him. It's got to be 0.7, 0.65 snap back to the holder. He's already taken it down. Kicker's already moving forward. And this thing happens like you're slam the door. I mean, there's no time to get your hand out of the way. It's got to be down there. And these guys work every day. You can find a lot of guys that can snap the ball. That's only half the equation, as I said earlier. What Beau Gardner has done, and we took him from UCLA a couple of years ago, and he was one of the most highly recruited snappers out at that time. And we were lucky he chose Georgia, and I think he's very happy that he did because he's getting to play in those big games, and he's getting to show what he can do. Big-time kicks, punts, field goals, But what he does after it is really where these centers are separated. You know, when you get downfield, you're making some tackles, you're forcing a returner into the crowd instead of to the open sideline. You got to do a lot of things, and we don't see most of it because it's done in the practice time. But you know, if you want to watch it's fun to watch Brett, but watch Beau one time after he snaps. He'll take off downfield. You'll be pretty impressed with his athletic ability getting down there.
All right, we got SEC Media Days, as they say, as talking season.
Yeah.
Here in Atlanta with the SEC Media Days. Do you think the Bulldogs are being underestimated coming into talking season? How do you feel about the upcoming team?
Well, I think I feel very good about them, to be honest with you. I think this could be one of our most tenacious defenses in quite a while. You know, I think this team went from not much depth last year to a lot of depth. All of a sudden, you've got guys that have played young. We got healthier people. Injuries have not crept up on this team, so they're going in full speed this year. I like their moxie. I like, you know, they've been there, they've done that. They played a heck of a tough schedule last year. They did as good as they could do last year, I really believe. Probably far better than probably even the coaches thought they would do near the end. But they fought, and they fought like Bulldog teams do. And I know they're going to do that this year, but I just think they're healthier. I think they're more experienced. And we have a pretty good record under Coach Smart in our place. And we've got the bulk of our games here this year, which gives us a great advantage. So, you know, if we stay healthy, Buck, I really do like this. I think we're going to get some names that pop up that you heard a little bit last year on defense. I think, you know, we're going to have some guys on offense, especially at the tailback position. Look like they just appeared on the field. All of a sudden, it's like, where have they been? And I think that's the excitement we have. And with Gunner, I think the team's around Gunner, but I think Ryan's pushing him. I hope that competition stays open and stays true because I just think that those two guys both can make each other better. And, you know, when they can do that, that's going to be key to the success.
All right, KB, thanks for the time and insight, brother. Had to come with you, had to get right to you to talk about special teams play. Nobody did it better than you, brother.
Well, I appreciate it, Buck. Always good to be with you. And, you know, it really is exciting. As you say, you know, we got a special teams trio this year that can really be a boost to our offense and defense. And when you have that, man, those tight games, you just get a little bit more comfortable in those tight games because you know you got your aces on the side. So best of luck to them this year, and good talking to you.
Hey, and I'm still looking 4 tickets for Texas. I need 4 for Alabama. You going to be able to help me out on those?
Where are those games at?
There's nobody complaining about the Georgia home schedule this year, brother.
Not yet. No, sir. Not this year. Maybe that one game in Georgia, down at the Georgia Dome, but I think we'll do good in that one, too.
Always good to catch up with my close friend Kevin. He arrived at Georgia as a freshman. I was a senior, and there was a little bit of hazing going on at the time. And I made sure that we weren't hazing on the freshman kicker. We had just lost Rex Robinson, who was he was outstanding. Rex Robinson, all SEC, All-American caliber kicker. And so we're coming off a national championship, expecting to go back-to-back and win another title. And to do that, you had to have an outstanding kicker, right? So, yeah, I took Butler under my wing. And we knew we were going to need him, and he was awesome as a freshman that year as we went back-to-back SEC championships. Kevin had a great season and went on to a Hall of Fame career. You know, one more thing on this specialist before we turn the page. I think there's one more specialist. I mean, Steele had the kicker, the punter, and the snapper from Georgia, and I think he missed the boat on another specialist, and that is the new Georgia return man, punt returns, kickoff returns, Zachariah Branch coming in from USC and the Trojans, where he really made a name for himself returning kicks as a return man. So look for Branch to make some more noise in Athens. He's electric, big play waiting to happen, and was really special returning kicks at USC. I expect him to do the same this season for the Bulldogs. So Steele might have missed that. Steele didn't miss much. He might have missed that one on Zach Branch. All right, that's going to do it for episode 127 of Bucks Beat. We'll be back next week for more. Have a great weekend, everybody.